Hey guys, GC here with Vendetta Waterfowl, and this is Snow Call Basics Episode 2. So last week we talked about that proper hand position, air introduction, and that single bark on a snow goose call. Today we're going to talk about the low end shift, just taking that mid-level bark we learned and bringing it down lower, as well as getting into the basics of murmuring on a snow call. But first, let's recap last week's episode real quick. So with the proper hand position, we learned that we have two rungs on this insert, and the first rung is going to sit just on the flat part of my thumb here, with my index finger wraps over the second rung. My middle finger is going to touch the palm, and the rest of the fingers kind of follow suit. We're not squeezing it, it's just kind of sitting there. And then our free hand comes up, and it goes index over pinky, just like on our spec call, but we're not going to close the end off. We're just going to kind of have it open on the end. Now with the air introduction, we squeeze with our diaphragm, push with our throat, but our teeth are going to stay together to allow that big blast of air to come through our lips. We don't want to be pursed so much, it's more relaxed. My tongue is just coming up against the back of my teeth to stop the air. So the single bark that we learned sounds like this. Now, if I want to take that bark and I want to shift it lower, I'm going to do what we call that low end shift. And I'm just going to drop the amount of air that I'm putting into the call. Okay? That's the first step to doing this low end shift. And it's going to get a lower bark. Okay? Now, if I take my hand and I take my free hand and just cup it over the end. I like to turn mine sideways. This hand won't move. And I cup it over the end, it's going to bring it even lower. And I'm just barely putting air into it. And that's going to bring you to the low end shift. Now, practice this the same way you practice that single bark. Put the call down, pick it up, hit one, put it back down. Build up that muscle memory and get your hand position to where when you pick up the call, it goes straight to it. And then you're going to be able to go back and forth on that air by practicing each one as well. Now let's talk about the murmur. Okay, the murmur is similar to a spec call murmur. We're going to vibrate our vocal cords to produce that hot air. Just like a phone sitting on a table doing that vibrating. But we're going to close our teeth and let the air pass through, just like on the single bark. Our air, the way we put the air into the snow goose call, no matter what we're doing, is not going to change. So that murmur, I'm going to cut my hand over the end because it's a low end sound. We're going to need to get low. Now, to get that beatboxing sound, that's what we call it. That murmur scratch game on a snow goose call, we call it beatboxing. So, to beatbox, you're just going to go as you're vibrating it. If I want to throw a little change up, a little drag, and you can do a bunch of different things with the murmur. You can chop it. You can open your hand. There's a lot of things you can do with the murmur and just go back and forth and get different sounds. And we'll get into some down the road. I'll show you some certain patterns that I like to use a lot. But for right now, just practice that basic. Find that murmur, do it straight into the call. If it's too high, just adjust. And then start chopping it. And that's that murmur. So next week, we're going to talk a little bit about mixing in some barks with our murmurs, as well as stringing some barks together and getting that note string put together for top end. We're also going to cover the Ross Goose Peep, one of my favorite things to do on a snow goose call, and that helps out a lot if you got a big group of Ross geese coming in and you start peeping back at them. So if you have any questions, be sure to leave us a comment, like and subscribe. Feel free to send us a message, email. If you want to see anything, just let us know. Love to help. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Keep up with all things Vendetta Waterfowl. As always, I'm GC. Get mean and get even.